I love that word pilot. I've been wanting to find a word besides pivot. I mean, it's like you really can do anything for a year. One of the exercise coaches that I see, they say that, you believed in Santa Claus for 8 years, so you can do anything for 30 seconds or a minute. And it's really true. You can make that plan to where, you know what, we're going to try this for 6 months or a year, see if it works. It's not written in stone or blood, so we can change it if we tried something and it didn't work. I really like that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's where it took me a while to learn that word. And it's only 5 letters, but man, has it been powerful in driving change initiatives, because it's a softer word that kind of invites people to, hey, we're trying something new. We're all in this together. Let's try to figure it out, as opposed to, here's some change, take it or leave it.
Yeah. So do tell us about your book. You've got an event coming up in May, so I want to be sure that we cover that before our time is over. And you wrote this during the pandemic? Your book?
Yeah, it published right at the end of the year, right at the end of 2020. So I started it late fall-ish in 2019. Wow. And it started out as a paper, actually. And then I kept kind of iterating on it, getting feedback from people. There's feedback again. And wrote a paper. My friend said, make it a series. Another friend said, let me help you fine-tune this to help you get it published somewhere. Did that, took it to a professor at my business school. And he said, I think you have a book here. And I was like, I just want to write a paper. And I said, how do you even write a book? And he introduced me to an author coach, this gentleman, Eric Custer. And he has this 1-year program where you literally get a book published. Of course, you have to hit all these targets, and it's far from a small time commitment, but it was an amazing journey. So the book is really tied to all these things we're talking about. It's called The Optimizer: Building and Leading a Team of Serial Innovators. And it's all about getting people to think in this incremental change mindset, constantly allocating 10, 15% of their time to thinking about doing things differently. And then as a leader, enabling, empowering, and then sustaining this mindset through a number of strategies. We talked about a lot about the enabling part. There's certainly pieces to empowering them, which is largely, to me, acting as a trusted advisor as opposed to their boss or manager. And then sustaining it, which really is anchored in putting it in writing, which sounds so simple, but how often do we put in our business plan, I'm going to try this differently this year and see what happens. And then as a leader, putting it in writing to say, all right, I'm going to help lead and manage this experience and be their accountability partner. And it's just been really a lot of fun to get it off the ground and see the interest in it and helping people drive meaningful change, because there's never been a time, I mean, we always need it, but there's never been a time more than now than we do with the pandemic. The event, May 18th and 20th, thank you for asking. It's a book learning club. So you don't have to have read the book, but me and a partner of mine, who's just a master facilitator, name is Jesse Jacob, we are going to put on a two-piece series on lessons from the book, leadership lessons and stories from the dozens of interviews I did in my 20 plus years on Wall Street and her experience as a culture and innovation consultant. So really excited about that.
Very nice. We did have a question come in from Dakota. He wants to know how you find time to write a book and still get your day-to-day tasks accomplished.
I think the running joke around my household was, between midnight and 5 a.m., you can do whatever you want. It's just, people write. One of the things that was great about this coach was his thing was find your style of writing. Some people like to sit down on a Saturday and just write for 8 hours straight.
Interesting.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm much more of a sort of piece it out and every day just kind of walk down to my office. My kids go to bed around 9 o'clock. Sit down in my chair and write and research for 2 or 3 hours. Of course, interviews, had to do those. No one wanted to interview with me at 11 o'clock at night, so I do those during the day. But writing and research, I did, kind of between 9 and midnight, oftentimes later. So it's got to be something you love, right? Because it's not, it probably took me, I figured out probably close to 1,000 hours all in to make it happen.